Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Pod of Greed. Happy to see you here for another week.
I didn't like that. I don't like it when you do it. I don't know. Guys, let us know who should be doing the intro.
I mean, I think I did okay.
I don't know. It wasn't me though.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, well, listen. This one's a pretty big one.
This is the big one?
You know why?
No, I actually don't.
Because there's a new ban list.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk for 3 hours on that.
In Digimon.
Oh.
No, there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh Banlist. I think there's also a new Digimon Banlist. There is. But there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh Banlist. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here for sure. I think this will be a pretty interesting one. Of course, though, before we get started, just a reminder to you guys, we appreciate all of your 5-star reviews.
And the 1-star ones. We see you.
Yeah, on the different podcasting platforms. It's really awesome. Year's almost over. We should still have an episode for you guys next week, even though we'll be gone for the Christmas holidays.
We'll have to kind of cram planned. That one in.
Yeah, we'll figure something out for it because we missed Thanksgiving's episode, but I don't want to do that again if we can help it. I know you guys are going to be stuck with your families and might want some Yu-Gi-Oh and just newsy stuff to listen to.
Honestly, the more I'm around my family, the more I just want to crawl into a hovel and play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and also be on the lookout because I'm going to be probably doing a giveaway on that episode. So something kind of exciting, maybe Pot of Greed related.
And speaking of the pot, thank you guys for all your submissions to our Google form. We've been reading and adding new questions to our pot over here. So
yeah, so definitely continue doing that. We've got the link in the description. It's much easier to read and process all your different questions that way. So I think it's time that we get into
the big news
and potatoes. The meat and potatoes being a new
Force of Will.
Yeah, that's right. There's a new.
Yep. No, I don't. Is that game still going?
I don't know. Actually,
I don't know. I feel like a podcast about card games. We should know at least if a card game is still.
Yeah, you would think. Okay, so there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh Banlist. We're not beating around the bush anymore. This is a huge ban list. It's a huge one.
A lot of cards moved, both got banned and unbanned.
Yeah, a lot of cards got banned, moved, unbanned, all that stuff. Fun fact, actually, this ban list had 25 changes on it.
That's a lot.
Which I think was not an accident. I think that for the Yu-Gi-Oh 25th anniversary, they decided to end the year off by moving 25 cards on the ban list. I have no clue if it actually was on purpose.
I'm really curious what the 25th card was. What was the inconsequential thing they did just to get to 25?
I know.
Or what was the 26th change? The one that they just decided to not do because they had a nice 25.
It is an interesting thing when you think of a ban list this big. Well, anyway, okay, we'll get into it. So, you guys have probably seen my ban list sort of reaction video on this channel already, so I'm not going to I think go into just every individual card unless you want to.
I don't even know that much about some of the cards. So.
Yeah, so I think it'd probably be better just to talk about some of the highlights and the big conversation pieces around this ban list right now. So 4 cards are banned: Yugioh and Kelbeck, the Ishizu Millen cards.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Mathmech Circular and Isolde, Two Tails of the Noble Knights. Probably the biggest thing here is Isolde.
It's sadly been a long time coming for Isolde. Mm-hmm. And as someone who I like Noble Knights and I like Infernoble fine. But Isolde wasn't really designed with the future in mind. Or maybe she was designed too much for the future.
Yeah, she's kind of the last bastion of those, if you remember, what was it, the Link Vrains pack? In the OCG way back when, and a lot of them got imported in Duel Overload, although Isolde actually came out sooner than that. But this is kind of the last of those Link 2 monsters with really strong effects. It was, if we're kind of going back in history a bit, Link monsters came out, they were pretty underwhelming at the start. Mm-hmm. It was awkward. You had to run Mrs. Radiant and Decode Talker.
It wasn't a good time.
There's obviously Firewall Dragon was very strong, but it was almost more of an outlier. Generally speaking, people didn't really hadn't taken to links.
And all of our decks were ruined because of the master rule change.
Yeah, exactly. So then came Link Vrains pack, and they also made a Link Vrains pack 2, and it was basically just a bunch of very accessible, very strong Link 2 monsters. That's where you got your, Halki Fibrax, your Electromite, A lot of those cards, Predaplant, Anaconda.
A bunch of cards that had archetypal names for the sake of.
Yeah. Yeah. And many have ended up banned.
Yeah.
Like a lot, actually. And so, yeah, Isolde was kind of cut from that same cloth. I'll say this about Isolde. While I think that the banning was deserved in the sense that this card was heavily exploited in a lot of FTKs and a lot of very like high combo decks that Konami seems to not really be too big a fan of. It was actually even part of the Exodia FTK.
Oh, yeah, because they use the, what are they called? The Ignites.
Yeah. So it was even part of Jeff Leonard's Exodia FTK, and I think that while that was a cool moment, it probably was like proof to Konami that, okay, we got to finally get rid of this thing. It's, you know.
Isolde was not future-proof and future-proof at the same time. Just being able to work with...
Who's closing that door?
Just being able to work with generic warriors. I feel bad for the Infernoble and Noble Knight fans, but maybe this means you will get a Noble Knight.
That's what I was going to say. So they need to do that.
Yeah, just give them their own link too that works with their cards.
Because so many decks, I've seen like people, you know, Six Samurai players, Noble Knight players, a lot of people playing these like much lower tier warrior strategies that were able to utilize Isolde, and now they feel like they've really had it kind of, you know, just robbed from them. Yep. Because, as always, some upper tier strategies are better abusing the card.
Yeah.
I, for one, always thought that Isolde should have required a Noble Knight as material. I'm so surprised that it wasn't like one Noble Knight and another monster or something.
But then Goki couldn't have used it to be a tier 0 deck.
Yeah, so it's kind of like what, you know, it's like what you said. I think that a lot of these Link Vrains things just had archetype names, but not really, I mean, you know, they were just
look at Predaplant Ver Anaconda. What's Predaplant about it?
Yeah, there's really not. So
like, it's known for, like, much more dangerous things.
Yeah, so I hope that they can maybe give some sort of a revised Isolde that like warrior decks can use without it being too, like, just kind of abusable by everything. I think that maybe like a warrior lock of some kind, obviously, you know, lock your warriors. Well, because that way, if you're playing Six Sams and like Noble Knights, then it's fine. But it also means that you can't kind of like run it in just every old thing.
Yeah, you can't just force it into things. You can't just use it to get your little Aqua Dolphin.
Yeah, and then also, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of one of those examples of a card like that. It's gonna get banned. There's gonna be like kind of winners and losers in that regard. And it does really suck. Another surprising one, too, was Mathmech Circular, just because, like, I think being limited to one was probably enough for that card.
But no one has complained more about Mathmech Circular that I know than you.
Yeah, but the thing is, so that's true. The thing about Mathmech Circular for me, though, isn't that I wanted banned. I just think that it should have been limited to, like, Master Duel, for instance. The thing is, though, the TCG already had this card limited to one. So I don't know why they suddenly moved it, given that it hasn't, to my knowledge, been, like, a huge tournament force.
I mean, Mathmech is that deck that hangs around. You always hear about Mathmech players in the TCG, despite the limits.
Yeah,
but I mean, I didn't know that they were winning events.
Yeah, they weren't that I could tell. So a little bit bizarre. I mean, it certainly is a general hit to Cyberse sort of pile decks too, because a lot of them would just run a small Mathmech package. But either way, it's also banned, and then of course the Ishizu cards. Getting into a couple of limits. So there were Orcus Harpor, great for
finally back to one
for the Orcus lovers. Redox, our first kind of like dangerous dragon ruler.
Don't miss Redox. I gotta tell you, I don't miss that card.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see
because you played it against your friends.
I don't play Redox.
You played it against me.
I've never played Redox. I know what you're thinking of.
What have I?
You're thinking of True Kings. That's the deck I played.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
The level 9 ones. Yeah,
okay, you're right.
But, I mean, they felt like they were based on it.
It felt very similar.
Yeah. I played True Kings, but I've never played Dragon Rulers against really anybody.
Someone hit me with Redox. Oh, in tournament. Now I think about it, I played against in tournament.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm very curious if like.
God. How many years has it been since that format?
What, Dragon Rulers?
Yeah.
Oh, like many. I mean, they were banned in like. Late 2014, early.
It's 2023.
Yeah, like
Konami, why are they still on the ban list?
Yeah, so they're slowly moving these things off. I'm curious if they'll like get title next. I mean, it's the one that everyone always like fears, like, oh my god, it's like a foolish burial. So I don't know. I think modern Yu-Gi-Oh can handle it.
Like our decks, like one card combos are becoming the norm right now, and I don't think we have anything to worry about from title.
Yeah, not really me either. I know like people swear up and down that that's the thing, but anyways, those two cards came off, and that's for things that got hit. Rescue Ace Airlifter. I know the Rescue Ace deck was pretty consistent, so this is a consistency hit
That's
for
like
them.
a slap on the wrist, though, right?
Oh no, it's actually a pretty big hit to consistency.
Oh.
Because Airlifter is the normal summon that gets you a spell card, and it's typically going to search that card Emergency, which lets you like summon one from deck, and then you tribute off the Airlifter, and it sets up the smaller Turbulence monster. I forget its name. It's a very
Do y'all
integral
even
card.
play Hydrant anymore? I thought that was like the 10.
Oh no, some people want Hydrant banned.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's a pretty meaningful hit. Same with the Unchained Souls of Sharvara.
That was a new one.
Yeah, that's one of the new ones. That's from Duelist Nexus. So those are consistency hits. The Sun Avalon deck got hit. I was kind of surprised.
They got 2 hits.
Yeah, I didn't think that was gonna be.
Maybe they're just sick of it hanging around, because you always hear about that Rika Sun Avalon deck. It tops
by.
events every so often. It hangs around for a while.
But see, I don't know if that's grounds to hit a deck so hard. Like if it's just kind of like managing to do okay at events. But there are some plant monsters I think that were announced fairly recently. That's what people have told me about. Like some new aroma stuff.
Oh yeah, the new aroma agents. So they might be okay.
So that'd be like kind of preemptively,
That
tempering the power level. A big one, Ib the World Challenge just this year. This one's
that one's off?
Yeah, it's at 1. It's gonna be kind of interesting. It searches World Legacy cards. Typically that'd be like World Legacy, Guard Dragon, and Succession.
I mean, that card being forbidden, I was gonna build a for fun World Legacy deck where I just try and build. It was gonna be a lore deck, but because Justicar was banned, I was like, oh, I guess I just won't bother.
Snatch Steal, that's like your big headlining old band spell.
It's back again.
Yeah, it's back again. This time I think it'll stick.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's in a place where a Snatch Steal is gonna swing the game.
Yeah, especially given that in the same list they put like Mind Control to like 3. So I mean, I feel like they're just kind of these little cards that like take monsters and are good for going second. Maybe they're trying to buff the idea of going second a little bit.
It could be fun, and I don't know if you've ever messed around with the new-ish vampires that work around controlling your opponent's cards and doing stuff with them.
Oh yeah, that's true. And they can treat the monster as the proper level for like an Xyz summon and stuff. Yeah. So that's back. Gozen, Rivalry, and There Can Be Only One, all limited to 1.
They just hit them with a flood of level limits.
Attack on Floodgates.
Good.
Yeah, good. I think that this is probably something that a lot of players wanted. Not all. I've seen comments where people have been like, kind of lamenting the loss of these cards. They felt like these were the cards that helped them to slow these, meta decks down to their pace and be able to stand a chance.
Tends to be it's weird. That's how floodgates have always been used, right? You use them in lower tier decks to slow down higher tier decks, but also higher tier decks would use them to exploit you.
Yeah, it was very. It's the floodgate thing. Floodgates are like, I don't want to say even that they're fine. They're not really pleasant to play against. I don't think anybody ever likes a card just simply saying you cannot do this, or you can only do that. But they did have, I think, a place in defensive, like on the defensive end of things.
Man, there were people who would hit me when I was playing Pendulums with Secret Village and expect me to shake their hand after the game. I want to spit in their face.
Or this freaking anti-spell fragrance, like arguably worse.
Want to spit in their face.
Yeah. So at least they put these to 1 and not like banned outright. I think that's probably.
Yeah, it makes them inconsistent enough, though it does make them feel sacky.
Yeah, if your opponent sees like the random, goes in match or something and it shuts you down, that would kind of suck. But I think what this also means though is that if you're playing like a combo deck, which like they can exploit these cards really hard, it might make it like not feel worth it to run these cards.
True. They're 1. And then like once you out them, I mean they're gone now. I mean you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, but that's just a relief. Sometimes like the worst feeling is when you like out the There Can Be Only One or Rivalry Warlords, and they just literally had another one set. And what was a brick for them now just becomes like, it's fine.
What I hate even more is when they chain it. So like,
you
activate your thing to target one, they chain the second one. It's like,
oh god, been there. Also been the one doing it, but
rude.
I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I can tell you that. Okay, so other cool ones that went to 2, Dino Wrestler Pankrotop, Speedroid Terratop, and Pirelli Sleepy Memory. So Pankratops and Terratop are actually coming like off like to 2.
Which is cool. Strange to me. I don't know why Pankratops need to be hit at all.
I mean, I knew why it needed to be hit at the time that it was, but I think that we've since kind of gotten to a point where there's enough strong going second cards that this will just kind of slot in with the rest of them.
I mean, as long as Fenrir can be here at 3, I mean,
exactly. Fenrir is like a little better than Pankratops is. So now it's nice for dinosaur decks though. They can actually search this card and even recycle it. So for them, it'll be
Dinos stay winning in 5th place.
Yeah. So for them, it's a nice little buff. Terratop is a cool one. This one feels like it's been on the list for a long time.
It's been at 1 for an incredible amount
like,
of time.
I want to say since like 2016 maybe or so. Like it's been a while.
It's been a minute. I can't actually remember playing 17, it at 3.
Like Terratop, I mean, it's been a long time. So that's kind of cool to see it at 2. I know you used to have a Speedroid deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2.
Sort of still do.
I broke that thing down. Speedroids is a very annoying deck to try and pilot. There's way too much chance. And when you're trying to optimize combos with die rolls.
Yeah. Okay, and so Pirelli Sleepy Memory is a small little Pirelli hit. Not much to say on that. I mean, it's
gotta hit something for that.
Something gotta get hit. And then finally, several things got unbanned entirely or off the list entirely. Infernity Archfiend, cool.
I like that.
Cashtera Unicorn. Mind Control to 3 is a pretty big one. Like Snatch Steal, it's one of these really good cards for going second. Pot of Desires actually making its way off the list.
Let's go.
So that's kind of nice. Spellbook of Judgment, Sprite Starter, and probably a bit of a surprise one, Upstart Goblin at 3. So
the days of running 37 card decks are back.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how many decks choose to run this because I think that a lot of top tier decks might forego it anyway because decks are so consistent now. Like they don't really need that sort of thing. But I think that if you're running maybe more of a mid or a lower tier strategy, Upstart might be a little bit more attractive if you just have nothing else to really put in.
I mean, true. If getting your engine online and having kind of backups for your engine is the ultimate goal of your deck, then Upstart really serves a good purpose. It just keeps as lean as humanly possible. Then you can start siding them out in game 2.
Yeah, I've always loved Upstart as like a kind of good card for siding out. I think also now though, a lot of the upper tier decks would prefer to run Pot of Prosperity, a card that did not exist when Upstart was at 3.
True.
Because like digging 6 cards deep into your deck is a lot more valuable than a complete like random just chance draw of Upstart.
I wonder who's going to be the absolute savage and madman to run 3 Upstart Goblins with 2 Pot of Desires.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. It's running as many just draw things. It's kind of terrifying.
Your deck will just disappear.
One cool thing, I guess, is if you're running like those weird Exodia or Burn decks, like Nurse Burn loved Upstart Goblin. It's 1,000 free damage.
Yeah.
Draw. Or if you're playing Exodia, like you can draw a few more cards.
Keep going.
Now.
Just keep digging. Keep filling up that Royal Magical Library.
I play Grin Maju, so Pot of Desires to 3 is actually like a nice little,
You don't play Grand Maju. I haven't seen you touch a Grand Maju card in years.
I have it built on Master Duel, actually. I used to play it a lot in the TCG, but not so much anymore. So
I like Hextrude.
Wait, what about her?
What do you mean, what?
Like, what about her?
What about her?
Just her?
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah, so that's cool. That's the ban list. It's a lot of stuff. I've been looking at many people's opinions and takes on it. And
who's right and who's wrong?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you as to who is right and who's wrong.
This is the podcast. This is where you take the hard stance.
The hard stance on everything. Listen, it's a big ban list, which means a lot of opinions. A lot of happiness about this one. This seems like it's generally well received. But in typical ban list fashion, there are people who are displeased. I think the biggest displeasure comes from the Isolde hit. That's kind of been most people's big complaint. Is
the Noble Knight players came out the woodwork to remind us they exist.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works, isn't it? Where you kind of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think everything's like this to a degree. There's like when things are going well, you just won't hear from certain people.
Yeah.
But then when like a card gets hit, you'll hear from them. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I just think it's like So there might have been thousands and thousands of Noble Knight players, like
Okay,
6 Samurai,
hundreds,
something.
15.
Like Noble Knight players and 6 Samurai players and stuff. And they were always kind of chilling, at table 500, so to speak, and just kind of enjoying their 6 Sam deck or enjoying their Noble Knight deck or whatever. And all was well. And then suddenly, some top tier Exodia deck or some maybe kind of upper tier Infernoble deck abused Isolde too hard. And so Isolde is banned now, and now they're kind of out of the woodwork. Like, what did we do?
You ruined it for the rest of us.
We didn't do like what's going on? And they have a point. Like, it does feel like it's, paying for the crimes of the few type of thing.
But Konami needs to fill up these new packs with new cards. So by hitting more generic cards that affect many strategies, they can then print very specific cards to help different strategies. It helps fill up future sets.
Yeah. There's a beeping truck outside, by the way, if you guys get distracted by that.
That's just my stomach.
So, yeah, that's the ban list. I think overall, not a bad one. It seems like people are, like I said, they seem to be taking it well. I don't have any super strong opinions on it, as I am not like super duper active.
Nope,
in
Paul, hot
TCG.
take. Do you love or hate the ban list? 2 options. Go.
Okay. I love it then.
All right, then I hate it.
Okay.
We're not explaining further.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about it overall?
Oh, I mean, I hate it. No, it's a fun list. I need a list that has a lot of moves. Just kind of reinvigorates the community. It hits some top decks. It hits some small decks as well. But I mean, I think that's important. That's what the Yu-Gi-Oh Banlists are all about. Just mixing things up a bit to keep the format fresh. I hope that we get answers to some of people's banned favorite cards.
Yeah, I would like to see an answer to the Isolde thing. But overall, it's okay. It's just fine. I think that's it for the ban list.
Yeah, that's. I think that's enough out of the ban list.
Yeah. So any other Yu-Gi-Oh news? There's been like
I've
flurry
got
of
plenty.
Yeah, a flurry of kind of smaller stories.
So the Japanese did their reveals for what is that? Legacy of Destruction. And they showed off new Lightsworn support.
Yeah, that's been a big topic. Okay.
Yeah, we got the new level 4 Dragon of Lightsworn. We got the Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend. Enlightenment Dragon, a new fusion of Punishment and Judgment Dragon. And then there's Minerva Lightsworn Athena. And then a new trap card, Lightsworn Aegis. We'll just move away from the trap card.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of cool that they are canonizing, so to speak, Light Sworns and Twilight Sworns. This.
They everybody's kind of represented here.
Yeah, they're kind of combining them into one. As for how good the support itself actually is, I took some time to read it. Now, I'm not, an avid Light Sworn player, so take my opinion obviously with a grain of salt.
Ignore him.
But I think that running the Twilight Sworns was always very difficult. I felt like they designed them, they looked really cool, and then I read the cards and I remember trying to play the deck and I was like, this is very awkward.
The Twilight Sworns are not good.
Yeah,
but
they're
with
not
this
great
new
cards.
Support, you actually don't have to run a lot of Twilight Sworns. There's no card in this list that says you need Twilight Sworn. You just need Light Sworn monsters.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. I'd like to give it another go. I think Light Sworn holds a kind of special place for me just because it was one of the big decks back when I was first getting into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. Mm-hmm. So even though I did not play a lot of it, I played a fair bit of it at the time, but I didn't play a lot of it. So playing against it almost is maybe more of my memory than using it. So.
I played a lot in community college. Good times. And I like to draw attention to Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend. That monster is actually a Dark World monster.
Oh yeah, so that's kind of interesting too. The Dark World and the Lightsworn seem to have some unspoken lore going on.
Yeah, I mean from those cards featuring Raikou and Dark Smog and the manipulation spell.
Dark World Brainwashing.
Dark World Brainwashing, and then Dark World the other one. Mm-hmm. They you see Raikou kind of gets captured and turned into a Twilight Swarm, and Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend. That seems to be Snow, the Unlight of Dark World, but rocking Lightsworn robes. I'm very curious what that's
switch
about.
Sides? What's her
maybe
deal?
maybe she snuck in like as like a sleeper agent, or maybe she just completely switched. I don't know.
Also, kind of interesting is that it's an Archfiend card, which is sort
specifically an Archfiend.
A big deal if you're into the archetype. Some other cards that got revealed. I've seen a few. There's like a new, I don't know the exact name of it, like the anime kind of pack thing.
Oh, I don't know the name. What, Anime Chronicles?
Maybe it had like the Ancient Gear card, and like there's also the new like.
Well, Ancient Gears are also in Legacy of Destruction.
They're in Legacy of Destruction. Yeah. Okay, what's the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon with like the Black Magician of Chaos on top of it?
Oh,
I forget the name of.
I forgot it. I don't remember.
Yeah, but there's a new like fusion. That's like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and like Black Magician of Chaos is riding on it, and it's.
That's an upgrade from the what was it called? The one with
Dragon Master Knight?
Yeah, that guy.
I guess it's technically like
an upgrade.
Upgrade from that, yeah.
It's a better monster.
It's got a cool like negation effect. It can negate one monster, one spell, and one trap per turn.
That's so anime.
Anyways, what do you think of the Ancient Gears?
Yeah, that's what I really want to talk about. So yeah, in Legacy of Destruction, we got a whole new line of Ancient Gear support, and it's centered around Golem, the way it was meant to be. So we got the Ancient Gear Dark Golem, who is really good because it can actually search 2 cards on its own summon. But more importantly, or kind of more importantly, is it can be special summoned. An Ancient Gear Golem that can be special summoned. That was a huge hindrance to the Ancient Gear strategy before. We got the Ancient Gear Tanker, which is just a kind of a fine card. It works within the engine really well. We got the Ancient Gear Commander, which this one's really cool because it's actually a reference to Velian Crowler himself.
Is it?
Yeah, the commander's wearing the dual kind of jacket where the dual disc is attached to the jacket.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
So it's actually a reference to the character, which I
thought
was really cool.
So actually many different anime like sort of support cards have that. Like Absolute King Backjack is just Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's a
strong
few
reference.
There's a few little like instances of
the
that.
The Boojins are all GX characters.
Yeah, that was always kind of weird. And one's like Pegasus, but technically Pegasus is a GX character.
Yeah, he was there
in GX.
But we also got a new. We have a beautiful new continuous spell in Ancient Gear Advance. This card just looks sick, but it's also great for the engine. We got the new trap card, Ancient Gear Duel, which is not amazing, but it's kind of necessary since it makes your Ancient Gear Golem, it's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, activated monster effects. So it's pretty much the only protection in the entirety of the Ancient Gear archetype. So. Yeah, we'll gladly take that. We'll take that.
Yeah, so a lot of just cool kind of card reveals going on. Let's see. Any other major card reveals? I feel like there's probably something kind of obvious that I'm missing.
Something could have slipped that came out earlier in the week, but
yeah, if you're listening, definitely leave a comment. There's probably a thing or two that we may have forgotten about, but
throw it in the comments.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like Legacy Destruction just in general got a lot of reveals. I did see that we got the blurb, the official like English blurb for the set that let us know that they are changing the Silent Force monsters to Voiceless Voice. A lot of people don't seem like they like that name.
Voiceless Voice just sounds like nonsense. Maybe Silent Force sounds like nonsense for the Japanese, but this definitely sounds like nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I think they both kind of evoke the same like idea, though, right? Like silent force or a voiceless voice. Like I think that's kind of,
I don't get it.
You don't like it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be one of those things that'll have to grow on us. Because I remember when people still called like Halqifibrax needle fiber, and I never even knew like what those two like where the connection
to be fair,
was
Halqifibrax is hard to say.
Yeah,
so that is not the easiest thing.
Yeah, we just condensed it to Hulk. So I wonder what they'll call these. Will they just call them the voices? Voiceless, or just the voices?
Voice.
What it makes you think of that one Kingdom Hearts. What are the Kingdom Hearts enemies called?
The Heartless.
The Heartless. Yeah.
You're the only person I know that has to ask questions about Kingdom Hearts.
I've never played it.
Just play it.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
I've never played Kingdom Hearts, but I know they were called the Heartless.
Guys, leave in the comments if Paul should play Kingdom Hearts. The first one. He doesn't have to play the others.
Yeah. So lots of cool new card reveals. In Master Duel news, the Duelist Cup concluded.
Did you win?
I didn't play, as you know, but the Duelist Cup concluded. Yeah, so Another sort of bout of intense gameplay. I saw people a little unhappy about it on social media.
I mean, I'd be unhappy too if
There
I had to
were-
wear a diaper for 24 hours and I still didn't win.
Yeah, that was the case for a lot of people. I saw that like Distant Coder was very unhappy. He bowed out, wasn't able to, I guess, achieve whatever the top 3 or top 1. I think it's like the invite to Worlds. Everybody gets some points for playing though, so you can at least accumulate points and qualify that way. But he had some not so kind things to say about the format of the Duelist Cup. So,
But I mean, isn't that just kind of like salt at that point? I want to
mean, I
hear
think
like
there
the
is a
winners
little bit.
complain.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of salt, because for anybody who like tries really hard but falls short, you can only ever really be left feeling a little bitter. I imagine
That's a huge like time commitment.
it's the time.
You got to
sink.
put in so much effort, and then you just fall short.
Yeah, for some context, just if people don't know how the Duelist Cup in Master Duel works, it's kind of this like roughly 2-week long thing where the first big stretch of it is qualifying through like a first round, and in the second round you get like 72 hours to just kind of like sprint for points. Winning gets you points, losing loses you points, so you need to win a lot quickly to secure a good position. And it can be really rough because anytime that you're not playing is sort of technically an opportunity that somebody could overtake you. And so it can be really stressful. A lot of people will forego sleep or food. That said, I've changed my stance on it a little bit, at least, in that like, because before I was like, okay, this seems like a really toxic system, and I still don't think that it's a great one. But there's an argument to be made that like it is what we make of it, and that like no, Konami's not telling you don't get to sleep or you don't get to eat. They're just saying you get points for winning. So in theory, if you're able to win quickly, and like make a really good deck and like win really quick. Well, there goes our main camera.
All right, guys, looking at you this way.
But in theory, if you're able to win quickly, you are like in a good position to just kind of take a break, and people do that.
Right.
So, that's the Duelist Cup. We'll see if they ever change that.
It never will.
I don't think that they're going to change it. I mean, like Duel Links apparently has done this.
I mean, look how many changes Master Duel has had since launch.
Yeah,
None.
Well,
So why would
lie.
they change this?
Well, no, that's a lie.
To
Master's
the
had a
base
lot of-
game, like
nothing big on the base game.
What about our new features?
But they've added a lot of quality of life things to Master Duel. I just don't think that they're going to change like the way the Duelist Cup works.
Nah,
Because that's like such a baked in system.
Master Duel
they've
doesn't
got
even
going.
have like Duel Links level duel rooms. So
Yeah, that's actually my big thing with Master Duels. The 2 requests that I have for Master Duel outside of my like little selfish thing of music or whatever, like I want a music selector, that'd be cool. But in terms of like actual functional features, fleshing out the casual mode would be a really big one. It's just not very good. Queues take a long time. Most of the time people troll. You don't get your mission points or whatever objectives for the day for playing in casual mode. So I think they just need to figure something out with that.
it's crazy. You can't get the dual pass you can't fill up your
Yeah,
dual
you can't
pass
fill your
with
dual
casual
pass. You
games.
can't do your daily missions and stuff. And then also I think that they need to improve the duel rooms, because it's wild to me that like Duel Links does it so much better, given that it's like this sort of smaller game, and also that they have a blueprint for how a duel room could work.
And they just did not use it.
Just to explain that a little bit more for people who maybe don't play Duel Links, because I know it's kind of seen as its own little neck of the woods. Duel Links duel rooms are cool because they can have up to 100 people, whereas Master Duel can only have up to 50. And it can actually just automatically pair people against each other.
Yep.
And just everybody duels for X amount of time, like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. And then at the end, it just ranks everybody's scores. And so it can be a really fun thing to do with like a group of friends, or also like for streamers who are making content or something. Making a duel room is neat because it's like everybody in my chat kind of just gets to hop in and have some duels, and then like when it's done, we can start a new one. And
Yeah, it was a good time back in those days.
so I would say that that's something that Master Duel suspiciously is like lacking, and maybe should do more of. I don't really know why they haven't at least. Maybe they're considering it. I don't know.
I when it comes to Konami products, I chalk it all up to bureaucracy.
Yeah, I got to try to monetize it. Well, a bit of a testimony from somebody who won actually the Duelist Cup, Ryan Yu. I don't know if you're familiar.
That name
but-
does sound very familiar.
Yeah, he was at Worlds. He was in the Master Duel finals from this past summer. Known for playing Labyrinth and stuff like that. But yeah, he won the North America Duelist Cup.
Okay.
Using a combination of Zodiacs at first, he said, to, I guess, get ahead and get some early wins. Then he switched to Dragon Link, and then for the final couple hours, he played Labyrinth. So, yeah, he played us a nice little combination of different decks, and he got first place. So we'll, I suppose, be seeing him at Worlds next year in Master Duel.
Where is Worlds next year?
I don't think they've announced it. I mean, my guess was going to be maybe just in America. Presumably, I don't know. I know
When's
they're
our
rotating.
next UK Worlds?
That's a good question. I mean, so technically it would have to be, because thinking about Worlds locations, in 2019, that was the Worlds that we went to.
That was in Germany.
That was in Germany. And then the most recent Worlds was in Japan. And so this next one presumably would be in America, which means that Europe would come after.
Got it.
So Europe, I guess, wouldn't get a Worlds until 2025. If the
pattern holds
continues. Up. So, yeah, that was just kind of cool. It's nice to see somebody, winning and doing well in the Duelist Cup, because it's sometimes a point of contention for people. So, nothing else really big on the Master Duel front, but I did want to bring up something that I just kind of had sort of personally noticed a bit. I thought it'd be worth talking about, and I can get some listeners' opinions on this. I wasn't aware, but there is like a degree of animosity between Master Duel and TCG players that I guess I always thought it was maybe like a bit of a joke, and maybe it is just a joke. But like when I go to the Master Duel subreddit and the TCG subreddit, like people are, I guess because the formats are different, people have a very kind of like you're a Master Duel player or you're like a TCG player, and that's kind of like
never should the two cross.
Yeah, never should the two cross. There's kind of like, it's like there's this militant faction sort of deal going on. And I didn't know about it, but yeah, I've seen some of that, like in people's comments and.
I mean, as someone who is between both worlds, I don't do either one enough to really claim one over the other. But I remember talking to a Master Duel player, and I won't say names, but when I told him that I didn't really play Master Duel and I played more like TCG at the time, this kind of look of disgust kind of creeped up on his face. Like I was no longer worth talking to because I was a dirty paper player.
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny. I've gotten kind of the opposite end of that experience where I've had comments like on videos accusing me of like being like a Master Duel like shill, or like you switched to Master Duel. You betrayed like the TCG. Why it's like I saw somebody commented something along the lines of like, well, why do you care about the TCG Banlist? You're just a Master Duel player. And I'm just like, what is that? Because I guess I've always viewed Yu-Gi-Oh players as Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Right.
Like just Yu-Gi-Oh players. Because like, I mean, fundamentally they are still like functionally the same game.
All the same game. The game just has multiple
it's just different formats of the same game. Like it's kind of different card pools.
Like Cross Duel was gone. Yu-Gi-Oh is still Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at it that way, it makes me feel really bad for the Duel Links players. Where do they fall?
Oh, that Duel Links players are treated like they're
redheaded
nothing.
Stepchildren or something. Yeah, so I don't know. I've noticed that a little bit more, and I guess my little PSA for it would be like, can we not?
So we're still like TCG players. Hell, there's cards on this table.
Yeah, it's like I play TCG.
Sitting right here.
I've got cards. I have decks. It's just, I think it's interesting because I suppose maybe if you don't, you have to like play them all so frequently and like cover everything equally and be just as engaged. And I think that to think that is kind of a very short-sighted way of thinking. Like that a person must consume Yu-Gi-Oh at all times and be like fully, like just fully on board the TCG, fully on board Master Duel, know everything that's going on with every single deck and every single like ban list and format. And I'm just like, no, I don't think that's really reasonable.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is Yu-Gi-Oh. Like the format changes, but they're still the same game. I mean, look at Jesse Cotton having played in like in Master Duel Worlds and the TCG worlds.
I think Joshua Schmidt, same thing. Right? They played both, and like I think that for a lot of people, I think a lot of the animosity probably comes from like weird like internet debates where someone says like you have less skill if you play Master Duel because like it's got Max C or something, so that means that like if you play it,
absolutely nothing.
You have like less skill, or some people say like if you play the TCG, you're a sucker because like you're paying money for these cards. Ha! you know, and it's very. I'm not joking. Like that is a real. Like I'm making it sound satirical and stuff, but like that's like a sentiment I've seen where people will like, you know, like sucker, you play the TCG. Master Duel's free to play, and I don't have to pay $100
for cards.
For
the Duel Links players are like, you don't know.
We have the worst of both worlds. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like play Yu-Gi-Oh however you want. It's fine. Like I don't think that there needs to be
like the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh. If you're good at Yu-Gi-Oh, you won't just succeed. You'll excel in any avenue of this game. Like,
yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh skill transfers regardless of the format. Basically, I mean.
Yeah, I think like Ryan Yu, like right, that proves it. He's literally won YCS events, and then also he's going to Worlds again for Master Duel. Like he. You know.
I think if Duel Links weren't such a commitment in like time and money, I imagine like
these people
could still just go into Duel Links and win those too because they're good at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, the skills transfer, and I also think that just, you know, be nice to your fellow duelist. Like
we're all in this niche together.
Yeah, we're all in this niche together. That's what I was gonna say. Like I think it's not to get like too doomer here, but I mean Yu-Gi-Oh's like a niche hobby, right? Like
we're not even the biggest card game.
We're not the biggest card game, really. So like, I think it's probably better to just support other Yu-Gi-Oh players.
We're all we
got.
They're
playing. So. Yeah, like or telling someone that like one way is like the absolute best and there's no valid reason to play the other.
Like, come on, guys. Like
please no. Like I prefer Master Duel right now personally. It kind of slots into my lifestyle better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything like objectively wrong with the TCG. There are things about it that are like maybe less convenient for me, right? Maybe if my locals is far away, or if I maybe can't currently afford cards. But I don't think that means like it's just TCG is bad. Everyone should quit it. And if you play it, you're a peasant and all this stuff. You're a sucker. Konami's abusing you. You know, I don't know.
Why do you guys keep going back to the TCG? All this has hurt you. Nah, man. The Yu-Gi-Oh is Yu-Gi-Oh. Play it how you want. Don't disparage others for playing how they want.
Yeah. Have a little fun. Relax. Okay. Any other Yu-Gi-Oh? Tidbits?
Oh, there were some Yu-Gi-Oh figures announced recently.
Okay.
And I barely remember them. I remember seeing Silent Magician.
I saw Silent Magician.
I definitely want that. We saw more. We got a better look at the Red Eyes.
Yeah, I saw Red Eyes. I saw, oh my God, we're forgetting the big story.
Yeah.
The Egyptian God cards. I completely forgot about these.
They don't want to hear about that. They don't want to hear about that.
I completely forgot about the Egyptian God cards. Okay.
Y'all don't want to hear about this.
So, you guys will remember last week that we were
Konami's
speculating on Konami's social media posts about a cool new product announcement that was going to be coming out. And it came out.
Celebrating the 25th anniversary.
It came out, and it is these stainless steel Egyptian god cards based on the original manga appearances of the cards.
Yes.
You can get a set of them.
They come in a case.
Yeah, come in a little cute case. You can display them.
Mm-hmm.
$400.
$400 just for 3 gods. $400. That's more than $100 per god.
Yeah, and it gets even better because if you choose to purchase this $399 product, then you'll also be entered in for a chance.
Ooh, a drawing.
A chance to win a Black Luster Soldier manga edition as well. A sweepstakes.
The vanilla one.
Yeah.
That's right. You have a chance of winning a normal monster Black Luster Soldier.
Where to start with this?
So, in a weird way, you can think about it like this. You pay $400 for a ticket to win that Black Luster Soldier.
Yeah, it's like if you could buy your Willy Wonka like golden ticket.
No, but you just buy a ticket. You don't know.
Yeah, I guess this is different. Sorry, you're just buying a ticket. The ticket's
$400
just $400
per ticket.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so what do we...
But it's hard to tell where you start here. I'm going to start with the gods. Okay. Yeah. First off, this is a product that's being offered to the West. So basing the gods off their manga appearances is a bit strange to me, given that the Yu-Gi-Oh manga is not nearly as revered here as it is in Japan. People talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero all day, but like this is going into Battle City in the manga. Like, people don't think about the gods in the manga. We think about the anime. Like, their looks to Westerners, those artworks look janky, to say the least.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so are you done?
That was my start.
Okay. Well, I just don't have a great thing to say. Like, you know that saying, like, you know, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But I'm gonna say some things.
Okay, say it.
Okay, I think that these cards look like literally like fake Wish knockoff cards. Like they look. And here's the thing: I know that these are the original like manga appearances of these god cards. Like this is the art and like poses they were in. Doesn't change the fact that these are the same poses that you'll find when you order stacks of fake cards off Wish.com or AliExpress,
Temu,
or like Temu or you know eBay. If you have followed Team APS long enough, we've done fake card duels where like I've seen that Slifer.
We got some fake cards over there.
This has like darkly big rabbi energy.
Darkly big
rabbi. Dark Master, like those cards were just these badly translated old fake shitty Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They look like that. As for the stainless steel thing,
now they're not even legal or like able to be played.
Yeah, they also have like broken English as their sort of translations, which are they're manga accurate.
That is true.
But also like it doesn't help the kind of fake allegations.
It really hinges on your reverence for the manga. And like I said before, I don't think that's that big here.
Yeah, so I actually heard that a lot of Japanese people were pretty excited about this product announcement. Like they were like, oh, like this would be cool for us. And I think that makes sense that in a territory where the manga itself was probably a lot more popular, yeah, like that checks out.
It makes sense. But we're an anime first like region. Like
my next thing about it though is that I feel like this was a big letdown because Konami hyped it up. Like they hyped this up and they were like, you know, here's like this teaser. We're gonna have this big announcement in a couple of days. Like, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh TCG players, like be on the lookout, right? Like this is gonna be.
They had to hype it up, Paul. Imagine this. Imagine you have to like sell this product you know won't be successful. You kind of still have to tentpole it because just to try and get every little sale you could get.
Yeah, it's my issue with it though is that like it creates a larger delta between like expectations and like likability.
True.
Like if this had just kind of been announced like regularly, just like a press release, just kind of like dropped, people would largely ignore it. Like they would be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna buy that, whatever. But like they'd kind of ignore it. Now it's like you got us on the hook, let us down. Now we're gonna clown you for it. And clown they have, because I've seen some memes on the internet about these products.
It's honestly the perfect follow-up to the Platinum Dark Magician as far as I know, like products that for the most part people don't want.
Weirdly, like nostalgia baiting, overpriced, just like out
Junk.
of touch.
That I didn't mean to say that.
Well, we'll be nice. There's like 5 people out there who really want this sort of thing.
And 2 of them can afford it.
Yeah. So, like, maybe in Japan there's plenty. Here, I don't know that there's like a lot of people who really want this, but...
And we're not knocking people who do want this. If you're a big fan of manga and understand liking it, it just...
Yeah, I think, like, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with liking this. It's more so that Konami, I think, like, this wasn't the way to release it to me. Like, I think that if you were going to hype this up, like... There's just a better way to go about it, I feel. I think, and like you said, following that like Platinum Dark Magician that cost $1,300, and I mean, they're still trying to get rid of that.
Granted, this costs less.
Yeah, I saw on social media they're still promoting that like Platinum. They're like, here's a great Christmas gift. That was the post.
But wasn't it also like
it's like $1,300?
A good
like,
gift at the beginning of the year too?
Yeah. Well, it released in like September.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's been
September.
a few months.
It's only been a few months.
But like, I think like these are the weirdest. They're just such bizarre. Like these, I guess what they're kind of calling high-end collectors products. But it's another one of those products that's like telling you that it's cool, but not like proving it.
Now, here's my take. So you remember Shop Yu-Gi-Oh?
I do.
Remember how Shop Yu-Gi-Oh would just kind of make random Yu-Gi-Oh merch that made no sense? Mm-hmm. The gold-plated kind of cards that they made.
The Blue Eyes Ramen Bowl.
The ramen bowl, the coins.
Yeah.
The like utter nonsense that you just took some random object and put the Yu-Gi-Oh IP on it. This just screams that, but we tried to make it more expensive.
So yeah, the defense for Shop Yu-Gi-Oh, which the site's down right now apparently. I don't know when that's coming back, if ever. However, the argument for those is at least they weren't like overpriced. Like they weren't like, here's like pay $500 or $1,000 or something.
I mean, they were still overpriced.
They probably were overpriced for the quality, but like I don't know. I mean, I think like it's Blue Eyes White Dragon Ramen Bowl is at least like it's random, but it's like neat enough to be like a cute novelty thing. This isn't like there's nothing cute about like $400 for
That's
these
true.
things.
I think a Blue Eyes White Dragon Ramen Bowl makes a better gift.
Yeah, it makes a better gift because
get this God thing.
Because this $400 gods are no longer quirky. There's nothing quirky and fun about it.
It's real money.
It's like it's money, and same with like a Platinum Dark Magician, and like it just feels very like out of touch a little bit. I saw though that Konami did they kind of partnered with Hypebeast. The like just kind of
people still use that?
Yeah, they partnered with them and they did like a sponsored unboxing or like showcase of these Egyptian god card things. And I saw a lot of the comments there were a lot more positive. So
because that's that flipping culture. They like to just buy expensive things and just try and sell it for a profit.
I mean, Konami doesn't care how they take your money.
That's true.
Who gives it to them? But yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of like it was. I think that's a crowd of people who probably would better appreciate it. They see the Egyptian gods as like a neat, nostalgic sort of status symbol thing, and like they could buy it. They don't know about like if you play the TCG or you actively follow Yu-Gi-Oh, these products actually are less appealing to you than if you just have a vague memory of what Yu-Gi-Oh is.
We have like the TCG. We have the god cards that are like worth like reverence. These are not it. They're not playable. They're
not great looking.
There's no real history there. It's not like they ripped them straight out the manga pages. They just decided to go ahead and copy the images out the manga and then like throw them on a steel press and call it a day. Like,
yeah. So suffice it to say, I'm not a big fan of this product. I can't in good consciousness recommend it to anybody unless you already knew this was for you. Like like I said, there's like a handful of people who knew that this was for them, right? They were like, I would love it if Konami made a stainless steel version of the original like manga art god cards. Then like, great, it's your lucky day.
By all means,
make your purchase, punch it in. Happy for you.
Here's my question: why doesn't it come with playable versions of those artworks? You're already paying $400 for it.
Yeah, that would be like nothing, right? For them to add that in, really. And I also think that, just to touch on that BLS thing one more time, a sweepstakes really Konami.
Yeah.
Like, guys.
A $400 ticket.
A $400 for a chance to win one, like, you could just include it. It could be like, now they're each $100. 4 cards for $100 each. It's $400. And it doesn't make it a great deal or anything, but it's like, it feels a little insulting that, like, you have to pay a $400 for the price of entry to like have a chance
for
of
the
getting
two
these
things to be completely unrelated. Like, because that Blackluster Soldier, I remember, was a prize card in like one of the earlier Japanese tournaments.
Japan.
It has nothing to do with these guides. Like, they're not related, like products or items.
Just kind of like smushing them together.
If I wanted one of those Blackluster Soldiers, you're telling me I have to go buy these gods I don't want for a chance? That's insane.
Yeah, it feels like a very artificial scarcity sort of deal where like, there's, I guess, the idea that there's only X amount of the Blackluster Soldiers. I don't know how many they plan on giving away. I don't know if it's like 1 or like
I would have wanted a Blackluster Soldier. I don't want the gods. But since they tied them together, well, I guess I don't want the Blackluster Soldier anymore.
I mean, I suppose the plan is that will make the Blackluster Soldier seem worthwhile so that you have to buy the god cards. I'm not saying that people
they could have held a separate
that,
sweepstakes for it.
That too, but you gotta buy in, man.
Not doing it.
Gotta buy in. So, not fan of these products. Not a fan of the platinum products. I'm really. I hope that this sort of trend can just kind of not continue.
Yeah, in 2024, we ain't doing this. Like, come on,
I don't know.
We ain't doing this.
They could have made them $100. I think it would have been all right. Like, make it $100. There's like some justifiable reason. It could maybe be a neat gift for like that much money, I guess.
Because I mean, $400. I mean, you're getting into like console territory.
Buy a PS5.
Yeah, the
buy
Xbox
like
Series,
anything,
whatever, you know.
like anything else. I mean,
You can get a Meta Quest, you know?
or like a Steam Deck. There's so many, like, you're starting to get into territory of like actually like tangibly like useful things. Because it's weird too. I'll bring this up again too. Sorry, I went way longer on this than I planned to. That enemy controller that they got in Japan.
Oh yeah.
It like you can input button things on it, and it will like play Kaiba quotes aloud. Like it has like a speaker and like inputable buttons, and it's not $400. And also that Merrick Millennium Rod that also has sound effects, and it's like $60. And it's just kind of like, you know, we're getting like proper things that get released by like in better quality and stuff for fractions of the price.
And it's crazy that Konami's struggling to sell things to Yu-Gi-Oh players will spend $400 on pieces of paper. Paul, your collection has $400 cards in it.
Right, yeah.
There are many Yu-Gi-Oh players who have spent real money on these little pieces of paper. And that should be a group easily targeted, right?
Yeah.
They'll spend real money on paper.
Yeah.
But then they're like, so hey, I heard you guys like paper. How you like steel? Nah.
Stainless steel paper.
How you like platinum? This isn't even really platinum. Like,
yeah. What I think it should have been, because I know there's a lot of speculation like, oh, what's this product going to be? I actually thought it was going to be like a legacy product, and not like a Dark Magician Blue Eyes thing, but like something that just reprints like Edison cards. A lot of people have been getting into Edison this year, and I think it would have been it would be good, and I'm hoping maybe they'll do this in 2024. Do like just here's kind of an Edison box, an Edison cube of some kind, reprinting a lot of those admittedly kind of scarce Edison cards that are a little tougher to get.
I was annoyed. There's one Edison card that if you didn't tell me it had a price, I wouldn't have thought it did.
What card?
It's a Synchro Monster, Psychic.
Magical Android?
Magical Android.
Yeah, Magical Android.
That one surprised me. It has a price.
Yep, I come from that period. I know all about Magical Android. It's one of those cards. Like, it hasn't really gotten reprinted, and it just, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, like, you got to shell.
Yeah, like,
out.
it's a $20 card.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even that it's like the most useful synchro. It's just, it fills out your extra deck and it has some use. And it's only been printed like once, I want to say, or maybe twice. I think I got like one reprint, but
so the Duelist Genesis,
yeah, that's where it came out.
Dual Terminal 5, Turbo Pack Booster 3,
yeah, Turbo Packs,
and Legendary Collection 5Ds.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of just older products, more reprints than I thought it had, but like a lot of those
all
cards
$20.
Yeah. And I think that would be a really cool product. It's just like hey, here's like your Edison Gateway product. I know they'll sometimes slip in like Edison sort of reprints and like GOAT reprints into like Speed Duel products and stuff. But I think that it would be a better, like, that would have been a nice, like, sort of box topper for the year. Like, it's not like a full-on product like, you know, your Rarity Collection or Age of Overlord. It's just sort of like, hey, here's some old cards, and you can brand it with like some 5Ds kind of thing, where it's just like 5Ds, Legendary Collection 2, or whatever. I don't know.
You know what could have been a cool product? And I'm not 100% sure how it would work yet. But a product that reprints like meta decks throughout the years.
How like Pokemon kind of does those like World Championship deck proxy things.
But they only do it for like the previous year. So a product that would print like 4 decks from 4 different snapshots for like big formats.
That'd be cool.
Something like a GOAT deck, an Edison deck, a Hat deck, a something else deck, you know?
You know what's sad? I bet Konami doesn't want to do it because that would mean like acknowledging that decks are good.
Yeah.
And like I know a big thing with Konami, and many companies I guess are like this, is they can't like sort of outright suggest that a deck was better than other decks. Because that would mean that maybe they designed it to be that way. Konami would never, right? So, yeah, sorry, enough on the God card things.
That's probably enough about Yu-Gi-Oh in general.
Yeah. Okay, we can get into some other stuff.
Okay. So I have a story, and it combines 2 things that we talk about a lot on this podcast.
Oh boy.
Magic the Gathering and AI.
Oh no.
All right. AI art banned from Magic the Gathering after controversial ads.
Controversial ads, okay.
Yeah, so gamers were accusing Wizards of the Coast for using AI generated artwork in their advertisements that we're seeing on social media. Now, I couldn't actually find the specific pictures they were looking at, but there was a large outcry of people accusing them of using AI art, especially after, the whole controversy of them laying off a bunch of like people, a lot of them being artists.
Oh, that definitely yeah. Okay.
So Magic had to make a tweet where it says Magic is built on the hard work and creativity of people around the world. We require artists, writers, and creatives contributing to Magic the Gathering to refrain from using AI generative tools to create final Magic products. And I remember this came up. This was not Wizards of the Coast. Well, it was Wizards of the Coast, but it was one of their tabletop RPGs. In their source books, they had AI art.
I saw. Yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about now. I saw this. So there was a God, I don't know Magic terminology, but like, yeah, one of those like tabletop things. They were showcasing some different art because I remember like this ice princess. Mm-hmm. It was one of the arts or something. She had like a wolf or whatever, and like it was AI generated. And like I guess they cleaned it up some, but it was definitely like AI generated, and there was a big controversy about it. Sorry to cut you off. Anyways.
But the thing is, I don't think Wizards of the Coast or even any of their artists are actually using like generative AI art, where they're not even really drawing things anymore. But I do think they're using just like AI tools, and I think they're letting it show in some of their final drafts of their work. And right now, AI is not all that popular in the art community, and people will sniff that stuff out fast, and they'll accuse you of all sorts of things.
Yeah, they will, and okay, yeah, I pulled up the story. Yeah, an error in judgment earlier this year when a D&D artist confirmed they had used generative AI programs to finish several pieces of art included in the source book Glory of the Giants, saw Wizards of the Coast publicly ban the use of AI tools in the process of creating art for the venerable TTRPG, tabletop RPG. Mm-hmm. Now, the publisher is making that clearer for its other wildly successful game in Magic the Gathering. So,
and this tweet went out on December 19th.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so my thing with this AI art stuff is that for companies, it's a very bad look if, you're laying off a lot of people and then also like using AI art. I think it's tricky too because for Magic the Gathering or a game like it, like a fantasy game, I see the appeal in using AI generation. Mm-hmm. AI art, like for just regular people, I still think it's not entirely there. Like you can usually like tell something's maybe a little off or sometimes it looks a little wonky. But actually when you want to just generate like fantasy kind of just settings, fantasy mountain, snowy mountains background and stuff, like it can be really easy, or like castle or whatever, to just have like AI generate a thing like that and have it look very believable.
I was playing this game. It was an online quiz where I had to identify AI art from real art. And I found if the art featured like a person, I did a lot better. I could very quickly identify AI people. I struggled when it was like landscapes and things. At that point, I no longer, as like a kind of a normal person, I no longer have the skill set to distinguish AI like landscapes from human landscapes.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah, I think that's something where like, man, it's rough because I do fear that a lot of artists who do just background work, because that's a very unsung part of like just television, animation, all kinds of things. It's like a lot of background work. Like everybody kind of focuses on like, oh, the specific monsters or like the special effects for the fire and stuff. But nobody just considers that like in most anime you watch and most TV shows you watch and all that stuff, someone just paints just backgrounds. Their entire career is based in background design.
Which is wild when you say it out loud like that.
Yeah, I mean,
my career is being in the background.
Yeah, my career is literally just making like house interiors that are just that characters like, will simply
never
sit
the star of the show, just supports.
But the thing is, it actually, so back when I kind of fancied myself a film student a little bit, I was like, oh, I want to like make films.
Oh, he was one of those.
Do like VFX work. One of the first things that you learn is that like good VFX hide themselves. Like if the VFX are good or if the background or whatever is good, you won't know that it's there. Like you won't notice it at all. It's doing its best work if you don't notice. And so that's like a lot of the shows and like anime and stuff that you watch, just so many of those just imagine how many times like scenes from Shibuya or Tokyo or whatever have just been drawn as just backgrounds, neighborhoods, schools, just interiors of classrooms and homes.
Like how every classroom in anime looks the same.
Yeah. Those rooftops that different scenes take place in.
Every school has that same rooftop.
And just like skies, just cloud, just kind of clear, sort of cloudy.
Who are you?
Skies.
I'm the cloud guy. I'm the best at drawing clouds.
And the thing is, unfortunately, or fortunately, AI can quickly just like generate perfectly realistic, like just a city, as a picture of a city or a clouds. And so I see where like if you wanted to make a card game, you'd probably look to AI for at least some of the legwork there. It's just that with like Magic the Gathering, people can sniff that stuff out. Like there's going to be someone who will. And if you're going to use it for like creatures and beasts and like effects, then people are definitely going to.
And it's a community that's so closely tied to the art behind like their cards.
Yeah.
Like in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, we don't even know our artists. Like, Konami could have been using AI art for the last like 15 years, and we wouldn't know it.
Yeah, we'd be none the wiser. But yeah, I know that with Wizards and Pokemon, Pokemon does this as well. They do credit artists. So one last little tidbit I saw in this too is the wording in the D&D statement is distinctly different to that in the one for Magic the Gathering, which only says that final Magic products cannot use generative AI tools, rather than at any point in the creative process. So
that makes sense to me though. Guys, I'm a big hater of AI. I don't like AI, and not really. But that's only because I don't care for this unrestrained use of AI to like mimic human behaviors and human actions. AI as a tool, I have no problem with. AI being used in your creative process to help make your final product, that's fine with me.
It's a blurry line, I think, is for a lot of people. That's probably because it's like as a tool is like a bit vague, right? Because like if it's in the final product and it was still being used as a tool, and I think for these players, they just where does that end and begin? You know what I mean?
That's true. Everyone draws the line somewhere, and we don't always have to draw it in the same place.
Because for one, I really like AI as a means of brainstorming like concepts. Not like art concepts, because I'm not really working on like art, but like I've had AI brainstorm like, hey, video titles, right? That's something that I was like really curious about. Like, what would ChatGPT or whatever tell me I could like title a video? And it can just like list out like 10 of them for you, and that's pretty cool. And I also like it as a way to explain things. It could be useful in education for that, in that way. Like it can explain concepts really well.
I mean, when Adobe Premiere added their AI, more of their AI-based features, I like using their text-based editing feature now, where it just auto-transcribes a video and it breaks it down into the text, and it can even identify like filler words, not just normal from other words. I can just edit those out. It's not always perfect, but it's a very convenient tool.
So I guess it's like tricky because we're always gonna kind of draw the line right in front of where we like would like.
Where it's because I can judge how you use AI, but how I use AI is fine. Yeah. It's just a tool for me.
Don't go past this kind of imaginary line that I have set.
It's like, guys, you can only use AI in Adobe Premiere when you're editing Team APS videos. That's the only time. That's the only time you can do it.
So I hope that perhaps they don't continue using this, but also I think the real honest truth is they will.
Who's gonna stop
them? Like that's the thing. They probably will. So, well, I've got a story. Unless you have another,
I've got more card games.
You got some card. Okay, I'll keep it to card games. This one's not as physical card game based. Final Fantasy VII's Rebirth's card game. I don't know if you've heard about this. Yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is releasing...
we did talk about that.
No, this isn't actually.
This is not?
This isn't the thing that we talked about before. Before we did talk about that they're making like a deck builder game that's Final Fantasy VII based. But the game Rebirth is going to have a game that's similar to The Witcher 3's Gwent.
Oh, an in-game card game. One. This is getting confusing.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's card game, Queen's Blood, is what it's called. Okay. Sounds a lot like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's beloved minigame Gwent. A demo shown to Game Informer showed off some side quests and minigames available in the highly anticipated sequel, alongside a brief mention of the card game unveiled earlier in 2023. So when traversing a brand new city called Crow's Nest in the demo, Cloud and friends walked by an NPC talking about Queen's Blood. Though details are slim, as director Naoki Hamaguchi didn't give anything away, other Square Enix employees called it a strategic card game with deck-building elements Cloud can play around the world of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Different NPC opponents have varying degrees of difficulty.
He better wear a dual disc, like a Final Fantasy VII version of a dual disc.
So I'm kind of interested in this because if you remember with Gwent was just like a mini game in The Witcher, but then it actually became like a spin-off game.
Yep, they did. They made an entire like online kind and stuff.
So it'd be kind of cool if this Final Fantasy kind of got the same thing. I mean, they've had card games in other Final Fantasy games. I know you played Triple Triad.
Yeah, in Final Fantasy 14, they have the Triple Triad game, which I fell off of just because I stopped collecting my cards.
But yeah, so I mean, like I think this could be kind of cool. Just it's another digital card game.
You know, digital card games, you know, they've changed a lot in recent years. But, you know, at one point, digital card games were all just contained in, like, games. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I remember the Pokemon TCG, a little Game Boy Color game. The Digimon card game was in the Digimon World games. Like, you could play Digimon World, and you could play the Digimon card game within Digimon World. Like,
kind of a cool way of contextualizing it.
It was so cool, the idea of having a game within a game. But now we have these games outside of games, and we have the standalone games and the physical games.
So would you prefer it if it just stayed in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and never went?
I have no idea. It's too confusing now.
Guess you got to play it first to find out.
There's so many different ways to play card games. They're coming up with all these meta ways you can play a card game, and it's throwing me for a loop. I can't lie.
You know, it actually sort of like brings me back to almost the like Master Duel TCG thing that people are kind of arguing about, where it's like, here's how you're supposed to play this game. Like when in reality, if you like your card games, just play them where they are. Play them digitally, play them in the game or out of the game, or play the separate Gwent client, or like do whatever. Like as long as you're having fun playing cards.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, a lot of games, they have been, or at one point, if like games are moving away from there being mini games within their like main game, like I think like the PS3 era of games, like you play a single player game and there weren't actually like mini games in it. You just kind of played the campaign and
there's more games now have
they've been bringing back mini games lately, and I kind of miss that. Mm-hmm. But but mini games are more important now because of Gwent. I think if you put a mini game in your game, you're trying to see if can we spin this
tease
off?
Out interest and see if it's something that you could actually just have a full on like spin-off game for. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think like when you look at PS3 games and stuff, they probably didn't have a lot of those mini games at the time because there was just so much stress probably in just developing for those new consoles, like the next gen consoles themselves. So there probably wasn't enough like resources left to really add like a lot of these mini games in. It feels like with a game like FF7 Rebirth, that's almost kind of part of the sales pitch, is that there's a lot of little stuff you can do to really flesh out the RPG experience.
Me. Like remaking Final Fantasy VII was already a huge endeavor, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna add a bunch of new stuff too." It's like, okay, you just have a lot of game to cover.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm sure it's very ambitious. I mean, a card game makes sense. I imagine that there's probably like for some reason, I think of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I feel like they'd have like a dating simulator. Like you date Tifa, Aerith, you talk to them.
I won't go into spoilers about.
Oh, okay, there is
Final
something
Fantasy
like that.
VII.
Oh, okay. Maybe we may or may not have that.
I'm just saying, Cloud can get very close to his party members.
Ah, okay. I look forward to seeing in what ways that plays out.
But
Team Tifa or Team Aerith? When it comes to pairing with Cloud.
Oh, Tifa by far.
Tifa, okay.
Cool. I'm a hard Zach Aerith shipper.
Okay.
I
like Aerith more between the two of them. However, I think that Tifa belongs with Cloud. It feels like that's more of the pairing that people would expect.
It's how it should be.
Anywho.
All right, we talked about this at the very beginning of the pod, but we didn't really go into it. The Digimon TCG. Mm-hmm. It had a ban list, y'all.
It did, okay.
And I've talked about Digimon Banlist before and how I hate them. And I still hate them. This Banlist changes nothing for me. I still can't stand how Bandai does Digimon Banlist. It's just not for me. I think it's not for a lot of people. But I'll go quickly through the cards that got hit. Digimon doesn't really do the typical ban limit, semi-limit system. For the most part, if you get hit on a Digimon Banlist, you just go to 1. There's only, I think, 1 card that's been banned in Digimon. Everything else goes to 1. So we got a Digi-Egg and a BT14's Bukamon went to 1. BT15's Apocalypse went to 1. Gabumon X Antibody, Garurumon X Antibody, Anubismon, all those went to 1. And if some of those cards you're not familiar with, that's because they're not out yet. We currently are up to BT14 in Digimon Card Game that came out not too long ago, only a few weeks ago. A month ago now. EX5 is our next set in January, and then BT15 I think we get in March, like early March, and we've already hit 4 cards from those products that aren't here yet.
So they're preemptively like limiting cards.
And what's interesting is they give you a little write-up underneath each card for why they hit it. The Bukamon, to me, makes some sense because we actually use that right now. But the rest of these cards, they have these cute little write-ups of how they affect the format. The format that doesn't exist. The format that's only been played in Japan and by testers for a few months in the West. But we, the general public, have not touched these cards. But we're being told that they're going to have this huge impact that will ruin the game for us. But Bandai made these cards.
Okay, so this is less of news and more of a rant, I see.
No, that's maybe all right.
No, I'm here for a rant because I think that's kind of intriguing. I'll give some of... Well, sorry, you go ahead.
Like, Bandai printed these cards for BT15 and EX5 because this was the planned power creep of the game to get some of the older cards out. That's how many card games work. That's how Digimon works. But then... it's finally time for it to come to the West, and whoever tests cards for the West, I don't know the exact people, and even if I did, I wouldn't say their names, but they tested these cards, and they said, you know what? They're not good for our game, and we're going to hit them before anyone can touch them. It's like, that completely undermines the purpose of designing cards.
Yeah, well, I don't play Digimon, obviously, but I know that you do, Alex does, Chris does. And so I find the general Bandai approach to Banlist to be a little bit strange. Like, this isn't entirely related, but I remember that there was like the One Piece Banlist that happened. It was like a pretty drastic one. It got a lot of buzz, and then they kind of reverted it all back.
And like, only like a week.
Like shortly after, like within like a week or something. And I was told that there was more to that decision.
Yeah, then they added another Banlist change.
And then they changed it again, and I was just like, man, this is so like... It almost kind of suggests a bit of...
feels reckless.
I don't want to call it like incompetence with making ban lists because it's kind of a strong word, but maybe instead what I'd say is it feels like they maybe are like a little hyper receptive to community feedback, where like there's like a fear that people are going to say this is a really bad ban list or this ban list ruined X game, and so like, oh, we got to take it back. People got a little too mad about this list. Because if there's one thing that you can give Konami, when they make ban lists, they don't take them back.
Nah, like it's locked in for some months.
If they change something, it's gonna be within the next few months.
It's written into the ban list.
So I think like with Bandai, it kind of feels like maybe they are not doing like they're maybe afraid of a format coming that would be poorly received by players because I guess Japan has gotten to play this format because they're a few months ahead, and so they're like, oh well, we'll just preemptively hit the stuff. But I don't really like that. I feel that cards should always get the chance to prove that they are a problem before being banned. I think that's the case in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that should be the case in pretty much any game, given that, like you said, Bandai is the one who designed the cards.
Like, so, these cards are supposed to exist. We've had cards all the way from BT1 to BT14 in this game. We currently have a metagame in Digimon. EX5 and BT15 are supposed to change the metagame.
When you say these things like EX5 and BT15, these are the name of sets, by the way.
Yes, these are.
I know, like, outside looking at it, I've always been so confused when, like, card games are like, yeah, I can't wait to buy BT16. I'm just like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just calls it sets, like, names.
These sets all have names, but they won't mean anything to you.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's cool. It sounds, it's so coded. Like, just, And when I order BT15 and my EX7 cards, then I'll be
It's a lot. Would it make it better if I said like EX5 Animal Coliseum?
I think Animal Coliseum maybe would be.
Okay, this sounds like a name of a card, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I prefer. I don't follow. Anyway, continue.
But yeah, these cards are strong. See, the thing is, what they're writing about these cards isn't wrong. These are very strong and very polarizing cards. But that is how you change the metagame. See, what it's looking like, honestly, to me, is now EX5 is going to drop in January, and it won't change anything because they hit the thing that was supposed to change the format. So then we have to wait until March for BT15, and I can't imagine that doing much damage either. Why? Because they went and hit the thing that changes the meta there too.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I hope that maybe Bandai can change that approach, because that doesn't sound very cool.
Like,
I think that it's for a bit of a Yu-Gi-Oh analogy for those of you guys who are listening. It's kind of like if, the Snake Eye cards released in the TCG, but they just put wanted at 1 from the get-go.
Yeah.
So that you're now not even really able to explore the power of the card or the possibilities of it.
And they tell you because it makes Rescue Ace too strong.
Yeah, and they kind of just tell you in advance, oh, this card's going to be really strong, so it's going to be really strong, so we'll just release it at 1. And I think that Konami's technically done that with a card one time before ever. And that was Brionic, I think, or one of those Gungnir, I believe, released like at 1 or something. One of those Ice Barrier Dragons. But I don't know. I don't really care for the idea that like because I feel like that also cannibalizes a product. Like if the product if one of the selling points of the product is a certain sort of Digimon or new strategy, and it just kind of releases already limited because we know what's best for you, right? Mom and dad know what's best for you. We're not going to let you,
Why should I cannot invest as much money into the product now because I know cards in the product have already been limited. Yeah. And so if I pull extra copies of that card, they're useless to me.
Yeah, and it's kind of makes you, and then, again, I don't want to say the word incompetence, but I guess I might as well. It suggests that you're incompetent at designing cards if the cards are having to be limited out the gate. So what does that say about the design of them? If you knew that they were this bad, then like why were they designed like that?
In Japan, they didn't hit them. They got the full format experience.
Yeah, they get the full experience.
They're getting hit now for the Japanese, but they played that format.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing about that though too, and I know you're aware of this, but I guess just to maybe better elaborate on it, I think the average Digimon player at the local card shop doesn't give a damn about whether or not Japan's gotten to enjoy this format or not or whatever. They're just gonna see that cool cards are limited out the gate, and they're probably gonna ask themselves, okay, what the fuck? Why'd you make it if it's gonna be limited? Then if that's the case, then it's your fault because you made the broken card,
right?
You Bandai, because they're not gonna distinguish. They're just gonna. I would be upset. I mean, I think that it's kind of weird. Like if a rogue deck in Yu-Gi-Oh even was getting new support, and they just kind of told you, yeah, no, you get this new light swing support's all limited to 1. So it's like, wait, we didn't even get to play with it at 3. Like, nope. So yeah, that's a very Bandai seems like they kind of are a little like maybe more touch and go with these lists. Maybe they don't have enough faith in their community to like adapt to formats or something.
My assumption is this, that the R&D team for Bandai does not communicate with whoever makes their ban list. It doesn't feel, there must be a disconnect there because I don't know how you end up preemptively hitting the premier strategies of a product like that. There's something wrong there, something horribly wrong. And honestly, and something that's always annoyed me about Bandai Banlist is this list comes out preemptively. And they're gonna hit a bunch of things they perceive to be problems. So when EX5 comes out, if some new like annoying insane deck creeps out of nowhere, there won't be a ban list in sight because Bandai does not give us mid-format list adjustments. We only get preemptive lists. They don't. So it's weird. They so-called listen to the community to preemptively hit things, but then during the format, they go deaf. they hear nothing until the next set release, and it's time to preemptively hit things again.
Well, yeah, sounds like that might be grounds for another Digimon video. I know your last one was very popular.
I got one coming up.
Well, any other card game stories? You got any?
No more card game.
Okay, so did you hear about this Insomniac Games leak? No? Okay, this is some video game news. So, there was a really big leak of just a lot of Insomniac data. 1.6 terabytes of data
Yikes.
was compromised by the hacking group Reseda, a ransomware gang that announced that it had stolen the data in a hack on December 12th. And at the time, the group announced an auction price for the data starting at 50 bitcoins, or roughly $2 million, and a 7-day deadline to pay before they started leaking all the info.
Okay.
I guess Insomniac did not pay them because they started leaking all the stuff, and it even had employee data that got like leaked, data on games that they're working on, plans for upcoming games. So there's like a Wolverine game that's that's being that's been leaked now.
No.
Apparently it's going to be part of like a three game series on the X-Men, with one game coming out in 2029 and one in 2033. There's also mention of a third Spider-Man game and a new entry in the Ratchet and Clank franchise.
See, it's leaks like this is how like game plans get scrapped. Like things go through drastic changes. They might have had some good ideas in those leaks, but there will have to be changes now. It's been leaked.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of brings me back to when like the GTA 6 leak happened, like back in the summer or whatever, where some people feel that it might have pushed the game back, even just because they would have had to maybe change certain things. That and a lot of stuff just isn't, meant for public release. Like, it's art in progress. So I remember when like the GTA 6 leaks happened, people were like, "Oh my god, these graphics look so awful," or "Why does this game look so bad and buggy and unfinished?" Because it is.
It's not finished.
Because it's like not supposed to be coming out for another like 2 or 3 years or whatever. And so, yeah, that was so. This is kind of a similar thing. One thing that I've liked is that people's opinions on these hacks have been like very generally united that like this is not cool.
Yeah, when you mess with the X-Men, that's too far.
Yeah, that's all it took for people.
That's the
yeah,
line.
but I mean, I don't know. These hacking things aren't really very cool. I mean, a lot of data gets revealed, and it's just so. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting story. Obviously, I can't like say much more about it. I wasn't.
And I'm not going to look at the leaks, so I can't really say much more.
Yeah, that's one thing. I haven't looked at any of the information. Like, I haven't seen any of the video stuff or, like, any of the kind of art or whatever might have been leaked. So
I don't like looking at leaks. To me, they're non-canon.
Yeah, I'm very... That is true. I guess it's kind of hypocritical of me to even bring the story up because, I mean, But I guess most people have probably heard about it, but, like, I don't generally like leaks. Like, I hated when the Pokemon games started getting leaked a lot. Like,
they're insane with the Pokemon.
Yeah,
leaks.
people really love these Pokemon leaks. Like, we leaked the final forms of the starters, or we leaked the, like the ISO file or something, and you can play it like 2 months early or something like that. And here's all the data and all the info and all the secrets and all the fun goodies that you'll find. And I've never enjoyed that because I just want to experience these games, like, for myself.
Like me, I'm fine with just the like official announcements for like when like the Pokemon games would come out. I would look forward to those. Like, we can finally get to see like what the starters look like. I don't care for like your like Reddit thread of all the like image files you ripped off of some file you stole. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. And it's a little different for me with Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's a kind of a period of time where I really didn't even care that much for reading like OCG leaks much. Because I feel that it can get you into a mindset of playing the game sort of ahead so much that you become disenchanted with the modern game a bit because you're like, okay, well, this is going to be the meta in like 3 or 4 or 5 months, so I'll just play that. That said, though,
I think that's more about like playing on simulators that let you use cards early. I've never been a fan of that. You're living in a fantasy world. These cards may not release in any time soon, as I've learned many times. I don't mind reading about things that come out in Japan for card games, but I do mind playing with them just because. I mean, you have a game right here to play. Play what we have now. Playing in the future, not a fan.
Yeah, so just kind of an interesting leak, kind of unfortunate, particularly that employee data part. Like that kind of sucks. Like you're an employee and your data just for working here. Just
but we gotta remember what we're criticizing here. We're criticizing criminals.
Yeah, I guess they weren't. Of course, they weren't gonna have.
Yeah, a criminal's gonna criminal. Like they're gonna do not chill things. Like
yeah. Okay, cool. Any other story?
I have one more.
Okay, cool.
So I wasn't done with AI yet.
You weren't.
I was not.
Okay.
Twitch streamer warned after launching AI bot to let fans generate hot content.
AI bot that generates hot content?
Yes. So
okay.
Popular Twitch streamer and YouTuber Susu has launched her own AI bot to let fans generate their own custom content and combat deep fakes. But some are worried that it could be too dangerous.
I heard about this.
Mm-hmm.
Is she it's she, right?
It is a she.
Yeah, she I think it's like an AI bot of like her, where like her viewers can chat with her, or AI her, and like also I guess sext.
We have a quote.
Okay.
From Susu. Text, voice messaging, and hot photos are all possible and all made with consent. Don't waste time with Susu impersonators and scuffed deepfakes when you can have high-quality pictures and scam-free experience.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, you can get this, chat with her AI form, and she'll, chat you up, flirt, talk.
Sounds like she'll send you nudes.
She'll send you something, I guess. So many thoughts about this. Not many of them great, but I'll start with the good thoughts.
Well, let me get her last words on it before we give our opinions.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
People have been using my images for years to scam others, and I'm stuck explaining to the victims that they were fooled. The bot is upfront and it's not real and can have regulations, she retorted. It's safer than what I've been dealing with. I understand your concern, of course. So she understands your concern.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that she does. Thank you, Susu. So let's start with the good, because I think that there's at least something nice here, which is that she's right. There is consent involved. I know for a lot of people who create content on like OnlyFans and stuff, a lot of that content will get leaked and it'll be on like these Reddit threads or these other sites.
You don't even have to be an OnlyFans creator. You can just be anyone on the internet and someone can just deep fake you for...
Well, just in general, like, I mean, I know that artists and like voice actors have had the AI stuff. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many like different scams and problems. Like imagine, someone paying like, synthesizing Dan Green's Yugi voice.
Right.
And then also charging to generate like a Yugi says thing that you tell me to make him say. And I'm going to charge you like, $20 for it. And it's not Dan Green at all. It's not his consent. He's gone on record actually on like Twitter and stuff talking about how much he hates this. A lot of voice actors don't like it. I know that there are like artists who sell, like cosplayers who sell photo packs and artists who sell art and like, they sell it on, what are those, like Gumroad?
That's the only one I've heard of.
Patreon. I know there's like Coffee, stuff like that, or Ko-fi, where like people will sell their art, but what will happen is all that stuff will get leaked and it'll just be on subreddits and other little aggregate sites. And so in that way, she is, I get that she is sort of like protecting herself in a way. Right. Because anything that comes from that AI bot is, consented to.
I think she's protecting her brand. I don't know if she's protecting herself.
Somewhat, kind of, sort of, I don't know. But yeah, there's some protection there, some consents being provided. Because like if you're using the AI bot, then you're ensuring that like you're getting the authentic experience. She's getting the money. There was, she's okay with that.
But
this
doesn't stop anyone from using deepfakes anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it would stop it. I think that her plan, I suppose, would just be that like what she's providing officially will be of higher value than what you might get from the deepfakes or the leaks. I don't know if that's true.
If I had to guess, because I don't really know the Susu person. I haven't seen the deepfakes. I haven't seen the AI bot. But if I had to guess, I'm sure this AI bot does not do all the things someone could have the deepfake do.
That's certainly true. But I suppose because it's official, there's like some some greater sense of authenticity that you get from using it. I don't know what that counts for people.
I feel like if you're consuming like deep fake pornography, you don't care about authenticity.
I mean, is that what it is? I don't know what it is. That's my assumption here. I was gonna like kind of assume that it's a kind of sexual content in nature. But
I saw there. I don't have any images on this version of the website, but the one image I saw makes me think that that there's if you're making deep fakes of her, that's the direction it's going in.
It's likely, yeah. Okay, yeah, well, that's interesting. So there's that part. At least there's maybe some consent, where that'll be my positive. My negative is I'm never been a fan of that degree of parasocial interaction, particularly now that it's, I guess, being like simulated by AI. So it's like you're not like, I guess it's, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's like, okay, I guess it would be bad enough thinking that like you could talk to this person on the internet, right? Who's like across the screen, that, you know, they're just, because people will do that and they'll get really like invested in the idea that they're their friend.
Right.
Or that, like, you know, you can talk to her about your problems, or she'll, you know, understand you, or she'll be friends with you, or she'll date you, or all these different things. We've seen it lead to things like outright doxing, violence, stalking, that sort of stuff. But also just,
someone tried to set Amaranth's house on fire.
Yeah, but then also like there's just kind of a general, people will get really depressed when they can't, you know, they don't get a response from their favorite like content creator person or whatever. I mean, so I think that in that way, the AI solution seems on paper to be a pretty good thing. You're allowed to like respond to all these followers, you know, like, because I remember when we had the APS Facebook page, for instance. I've long since shut down this ability, but like you used to be able to send it messages. People could like send messages to the Team APS Facebook like fan page. And I remember, mostly it'd be people like, hey, check out my deck, rate and fix my deck. You know, what do you think of this? Or like just asking what I think of the format, or should I build a certain deck?
Or asking for cards.
Or asking for us to send them cards. That happened a lot. And eventually I turned it off because I wasn't able to respond to everybody. And also people would get very upset when you didn't respond to them. What? I thought you cared about your fans, or wow, so you're going to ignore me, huh? Like, you know, that sort of thing, right? Where's my hug? So I turned that off like years ago. But I can see where, like, if your business is predicated on the idea of kind of putting up the facade of, I'm like your kind of internet, like, girlfriend or person, you know, that sort of thing, then your fans do want to be able to talk to you or have the illusion that they're getting to know you. So she would probably make this thing, like this AI chat experience, and it allows many fans to all get, like, their own virtual piece of her. But I don't like it because I don't like parasocial relationships on the internet to begin with. And I think that once it's like in the hands of AI, she might not even have control over what exactly that AI might tell someone or lead them to believe. Do you, like, yes, no?
I was doing my best to let you cook.
Okay.
I was giving you space because
So you're not a fan either, or you are?
AI aren't people. I am so sick of us trying to create AI that are either as smart as people, that can act like people, that can impersonate people, that interact with real people, and you really want to blur the line further. You want to have this AI impersonate an actual person and then communicate with real people as if they're the real person. And even if they know it's a bot, you're still creating this weirdly one-way communication because the AI can't communicate back. It's not real.
Yeah, I think that's probably my big. Sorry.
There are people going through life talking to AI bots like they're real people. There are children with still like squishy brains that haven't developed yet talking to AI like it's people.
Yeah, that's
sick.
That's my real worry with it too. Is just what will. I know it's like a typical like think of the children argument, but like I am serious. Like, there will be kids and like teenagers and stuff who will just kind of like grow up speaking to these like AI bots pretending to be people. Like, it's one thing if you go to ChatGPT or Bard and like you ask it to explain some theory of mathematics or whatever. Like, it's very clearly it is like an educational bot. But I think that the moment it's like taking on like a name and a face and it can smile at you, like those Meta ones that they announced a few months back,
sickening.
You know, where it's like different celebrities like Tom Brady or whoever, like they'll talk to you, and it'll kind of be their alias, and they'll even have like a face, and they smile and they look at you, and like
people can barely communicate with other people.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get them used to talking to an AI bot, which makes it even harder to communicate with real people because we sound nothing like AI bots.
I mean, I suppose their sales pitch would be that the AI's gotten so good that you can't tell the difference.
It will never be that good.
Well, you know what though? So here's the problem with that. For I think some of those teenagers, it will. And that's what scares me, is that we, I guess, are at like kind of an age where we know that it will never be as like, you know, textured as real human conversation and as rich. But if it's all you've ever known,
like, okay, I'm trying to like figure out how I want to say this. So when people aren't good at communicating with each other, human one-on-one conversations are. They're layered conversations. There's so much depth. There's so many cues you can miss on. That, like, when you communicate with me, we're essentially playing this weird like game against one another, trying to figure out what the other one's saying while trying to communicate what we're trying to say. And a lot of that can be missed or misinterpreted. It's not easy to communicate. But when you talk to an AI bot, these bots are made to parse through your words and catch your meaning in a way that the human brain cannot. They kind of create a conversation for you. But when you talk to a real person, they're not trying to create a communication for they're not trying to create it for you. It's supposed to be this give and take relationship. When AI just give. That's not how communication works.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it too, is that AI will always kind of cater to what you want to hear. Like to some degree, it's taking your prompts and responding to those in a way where it's kind of like, okay, you know, would you really want full submissive, just kind of like, I say exactly what you want me to say, I look exactly how you want me to look, and like we talk about exactly the things that you want. Like would you really want that
it speaks to you the way you want to be heard.
Would you want that in a relationship though? Like I think people in a general sense maybe would say that they do, but I find that maybe a little bit creepy and unnerving, right? Like, you know, do you like it when I wear this? I'll wear it again, type of thing. Like, do you like it when I say that? I'll keep saying that.
There has you don't
like
conflict.
When I talk about this? I'll never talk about it, because you can tell like the AI like don't talk to me about that, and it won't. Alec doesn't like this topic, so I'll never bring it up again. He likes this topic. This makes him happy. I'll say more of this.
There has to be conflict when two people communicate. Things don't always translate well, but that's how it works. AI is just always trying to communicate better with you, for you.
And so when a person, I guess, uses all of this, and then they're maybe thrust into the real world after maybe being like a recluse in high school or something, just talking to their AI chat,
it's a nightmare.
And then maybe they go to like college and they have to maybe interact more or something. What will happen? I mean,
when people don't sound like AI bots, they won't know how to communicate anymore.
I guess getting back to this content creator, Susu, I'm interested in seeing how this goes for her.
So you're gonna sign up for the AI bot?
I will be, yes, on day one.
Okay.
No, but I hope, just in a, you know, content creator to content creator, we'll say, I hope it goes well for her. Like as a general venture, sure. Like I hope it goes well, and I fear that like if it does go well, that more people will probably do it. So, just my warning, I guess, to people would be, please like. Make sure, like, if you're talking to like an AI bot version of your favorite person you follow, just be aware of like what it is that you're engaging with.
You know, or maybe just don't.
Yeah, I'd really say don't. Yeah, but if that is what you were seeking from them, like you were seeking just the ability to sit here on like your phone and just like I want to simply talk to an AI version of them, and I'm okay with it being AI. Just
I'd rather you just go for the parasocial relationship. Send her your $50 so she'll respond to your message, like,
or that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a rough one. Can't say I'm a fan.
I'm clearly not.
Can't say I'm a fan. Okay,
what else we got?
I think that's about time then for us to draw some cards from the pot of greed. Yeah. Since the main camera kind of cut off earlier, here's the pot. It is in fact here. It says hi to you all.
And the handle is still attached. It never came off. No, it did not.
Yeah, nothing to see there. Okay, well, I'm going to draw a card, see.
All right, I'm going to draw one too.
One upstart goblin, because, you know, there's 3 of those now.
I'm grabbing mine as well. Here we go. Got it.
Thank you guys as always for your submissions. You can, if you ever want to, submit more questions at the Google Forms link down in the comments. Okay, so I'll kick this off.
All right, what you got?
Will Yu-Gi-Oh ever be in Fortnite? That's an easy, fun one, kind of.
I think
palate cleanser.
At some point, it could be. We've seen a few other Shueisha titles entering Fortnite. At one point, I thought that they'd never want their characters to be holding guns and doing all the crazy things you can do in Fortnite. But I mean, we've got Dragon Ball, we've got Jujutsu Kaisen, we've got My Hero,
Naruto.
Like we've got plenty.
Is
so
One Piece in Fortnite yet?
Not yet.
I feel like it's soon.
I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's coming.
Well, yeah, my thing with Yu-Gi-Oh is like Yu-Gi-Oh's been in Jump Force, which I know obviously that's like by Shonen Jump, so it's probably a little bit easier to get Yu-Gi-Oh in there. But I think that it belongs in Fortnite. I think it deserves a collab. What a lot of people don't know about a Fortnite collab is that like it's a big push for your marketing, like recognizability and like mainstream.
Kids all over will just learn about your franchise for the first time.
Because a lot of kids right now just don't know what the fuck Yu-Gi-Oh is. Like they actually don't, and they probably never really will seek it out. There's too many other stimuli kind of fighting for their attention. So I think a Yu-Gi-Oh collab in Fortnite would be a really cool way to kind of thrust it a little bit more into the public eye. And it would suddenly be like cool to know a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh! And that could encourage more people to either watch the anime or buy the cards or, whatever. So also, another thing that should probably be like mentioned, because people will assume that Konami would be like the people who make this decision. They wouldn't.
It wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, Konami would have nothing to do with it. This isn't really a Konami thing. It would be like a strictly Shueisha Studio Dice type of decision.
Konami only has the license to the actual like card game itself. The Yu-Gi-Oh franchise is bigger than that.
So it's not a matter of like Konami doesn't want them to. It's probably more just like Shueisha has. Maybe they might be considering it. Maybe they have a reason they don't want it.
There might be a certain price point, Yeah,
and
they might have other things they want to put in Fortnite before Yu-Gi-Oh.
Now, at least in Yu-Gi-Oh's case, it wouldn't be that out of character for them to be carrying guns.
I mean, sure, especially reading the manga. I mean,
yeah, if you've been reading the manga or even watching like the uncensored like anime, I mean, there were guns in that. So.
Bandit Keith had a handgun.
Yeah, and a lot of the like Pegasus's guards and stuff like that.
Yep,
they had them. So I think Yu-Gi-Oh could have a place in Fortnite.
I love it.
What characters?
So I think you'd be safe with they probably do like Yugi, Kaiba, and then either Mai or Taya. Typically with Fortnite,
guys and a girl,
it's like 2 guys and a girl. So I think it'll go somewhere like that.
I think they gotta get Joey in there if they can.
Then
but they probably
if they did not. Joey, then they wouldn't do Kaiba. But it feels like you can't.
You have to do Yugi and Kaiba.
So then I think that would kind of have to.
So my money would actually be Yugi, Kaiba, Joey.
They have to have.
But I think if they do want to
there's always
kind of even it out, then Yugi, Kaiba, Mai.
I think that's where it goes.
Like
if they did a second round, because Dragon Ball's done 2 rounds, Naruto's done 2 rounds, and they keep the formula the same. If they did a second group of characters, then it could be like Joey, Marek.
Yeah, Joey, Marek. There's not a lot of girls in Yu-Gi-Oh.
At that point,
maybe I don't know.
Yeah, you're kind of already
not as popular, but. Okay, well, here's my. Oh wait, that was my question. It's your question.
It felt like it was my question.
Yeah, you know more about Fortnite, so.
Okay, so with legacy support, which anime character has the strongest deck? So if they had their modern cards,
it's still gonna be somebody from like Arc 5 or Vrains. Like if that counts in this, which I would argue it does, then like. It's probably something like Code Talkers, Salamangreat, kind of something like that. But if you want the more fun conversation.
Because, Salamangreat sound like the shoe in here.
If you want the more like fun, like let's say that we're going to go to
let's
5Ds
limit it
and
to
back.
let's limit it to Rio Legacy.
5Ds and back. My money is on Heroes. I think they just have so many gosh darn cards. Like it's probably the most like just well-rounded, able to like combo and push.
I was thinking either Cyber Dragons or I just lost what I was thinking about.
Was it a GX one?
It was.
I don't know that there is any other better
it was
GX archetypes than.
Oh wait, not GX. It was Cyber Dragons or dang, I forgot the other one.
Well, I'll say this: a recent addition that probably throws it a bit out of whack is like Blackwings are very strong now too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the Blackwing support's quite good. So
It would be hard to beat a combo deck in a format without hand traps.
yeah, like if they're just kind of playing their legacy support just as like maybe in the absence of like Ash Blossom and stuff. Blackwings are really nutty. They can combo forever. I think Heroes would be pretty insane. A few years ago, I would have agreed with Cyber Dragons, but like they haven't gotten support in a long time, and they're fairly power crept. I don't think there's like a DM archetype that really fits the bill.
I mean, because like Dark Magician is fine. Blue Eyes is fine.
Blue Eyes is kind of bricky.
And then like a lot of the DM characters, they got support too, but I wouldn't even put them over Dark Magician or Blue Eyes. So trying to pit those against some of these later anime.
The closest you can maybe get with DM is like Harpies are pretty decent. Like they're pretty decent. But I don't think they're the best.
Mako has like a towers like monster.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like, that's a very awkward monster to get off the board. If he can get it on the board.
Which he like can, but I just don't know that it's like the strongest thing.
It's
very restrictive though.
That is tough. Red Dragon with the new stuff we got in that structure deck. I mean, it can consistently put pressure on the board.
Yeah, it's decent. Final answer. My final answer is just Heroes. I just think they have a lot to work with.
I'm going to give it to a combo deck. So I will give it... I'm actually going to take your answer. I'm going to go Blackwings.
Yeah, it's Heroes or Blackwings for sure. I'm throwing my money on Heroes because they have like so many cards. The Blackwings are literally right behind them.
Can't stop the search. Can't stop the
amount of cards. So cool. Okay, next question.
Pregunta.
Yeah, that.
Let me see. I'm gonna get a good one. Here we go.
I guess you don't get to guarantee that you get a good one.
I can feel it.
Well, they're all good ones, I suppose, if people submitted them. Okay, my question is, how do you feel about meta taking over locals? Man, this feels like a question pulled like straight out of like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, but not everyone's locals is affected by the actual TCG metagame to the same degree. Some locals are much more competitive. Some are much more varied and casual.
Yeah, I just feel like when I said that, I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I just feel like it feels like something I would have been asked like just 10 years ago for some reason. I think it's kind of a natural progression. Like, I mean, and I'm not trying to like talk down to anyone here or like patronize, but it's called meta for a reason.
And
so
the metagame's a bit like an infection.
Like, yeah, it's going to kind of... When a lot of people play a game with a lot of different elements and stuff like that in play, some strategies and cards and stuff are going to rise to the top. They'll just be kind of the better, more consistent strategies. They're stronger, this, that. They're harder to stop. And
your locals already has a meta. Even if they're not playing what's considered the meta in the general Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, you already have a metagame at your locals. Mm-hmm. And if someone wants to beat that meta...
Yeah, they're going to have to prepare for it. So it's like... Yeah, and that's what I mean when I say I'm not trying to like talk down anyone here, but like even if your local metagame, let's say this is pre-Banlist, right? Is full of Rescue Ace, Snake Eye, and like Unchained decks, right? And it's very annoying, you hate it. That would be like an example of like a kind of traditional meta locals. But even if your locals didn't have any of that, it still has a metagame that you know, that you kind of anticipate. So like let's say that there's somebody at your locals who plays Eldritch still, like and they do really well in the tournaments. You are probably eventually going to start kind of playing very anti-Eldritch tech for them if they're a consistent threat each week. And the same goes for like if your locals just has people who play a lot of trap decks in general, then you probably are more likely to like, side or even start maybe main decking Lightning Storms, Evenly Matched, like Twin Twisters, these sorts of like kind of back row busting decks.
And if we're talking about like what they're specifically talking about, like the general meta kind of getting into their shop, there's not a lot you can do. All it takes is like one person picking up like what's considered like a top tier deck. And yeah, they'll probably run shop. And then that's going to force someone else to pick up a deck of equal or greater power. And everyone's going to slowly just kind of have to move in that direction.
It's a natural progression of a competitive game.
It is what it is.
And the thing is, what it comes down to for Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, like anything with competition, there is this illusion of like, I wish we could all have fun and be creative and all that stuff. But I'll tell you one thing that feels better than being creative is winning.
Victory.
Like, and it's rough, but like people want to win. So if you lose to the good thing enough, then you're going to adopt a strategy that is equal in power or like beats it in some way. And even if your answer to meta is, let's say, Fossil Dyna Stun, right? Dimensional Fissure and like Fossil Dynas, Inspector Borders, Floodgates, whatever, right? Let's say that that's like your answer, because that is how some people choose to answer like common kind of meta combo strategies and stuff, right?
Right.
Well, even if you do that, you're still influencing your local metagame.
Yep.
Because if that becomes like enough of a threat to people, they're going to like play counters to it. So yeah. Now, to answer the question, what do I think of it? What do you think, Alec? What do you think? Like,
you can't escape it. The best you can do, if you just don't want to get jiggy with that, you play another format.
Yeah, you play a format that's different. You maybe convince some friends, like, hey, let's play some speed duels. Let's play.
Let's just not do this.
Heart of the Underdog, something like that. But yeah, the meta is sadly an epidemic.
It is what it is. That's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Or I shouldn't even say sadly.
That's card games, really. Because at any game, like if someone starts making like the meta pick,
someone starts winning. Things are gonna change.
All right, let's see. What is this? How would you set up a kitchen table format from scratch, just between friends? So if you're just playing like just friendlies,
well, that's a great segue from that question.
I think the easiest way to do that is pick up a speed duel box. Now, if you don't want to play speed duels, then I say you pick like whatever format you and your friends last played or enjoyed the most, and you just show up with a deck from that format. And you're like, guys, let's all play this format again.
There's a really good video from I want to say it's RJB0 or something on YouTube about how to make a cube in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like kind of creating a cube from scratch, some best practices, good ratios to follow. For context, what a cube is, for anybody who maybe hasn't heard of it, it's basically just kind of creating a custom draft format, a set of cards that are meant to be drafted by 4 or 8 people or whatever. And, you can pick different themes for your cube. It could be like synchro based. It could be like based on some specific era.
Based it on pendulums.
Yeah, or it could be like a completely custom format that you just make yourself that borrows bits and pieces from lots of different like formats, cards you like. It could have new things like Forbidden Droplets or whatever, but it could also still have like old stuff, like, I don't know, Exiled Force or DD Warrior Lady. Like you could have all kinds of different sort of answers to that. And he makes a really great video about just how many cards of each you're supposed to put in, particularly with regards to like staples and extra deck cards. Like what are the proper ratios to ensure that if you were to draft this with your friends, that everybody would get like what feels like a fair amount of extra deck cards.
Sounds like an essential guide to cubing.
Yeah, I actually was watching the video. I really liked it because I wanted to make my own cube, and I haven't gotten around to doing it, but I felt like that would be I'd like to make like maybe a synchro.
You should do it and vlog it, and we'll make it into content.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd like to make like a synchro cube. I'd like to make it feels kind of scary to make like maybe like a link cube, but who knows, right? Or a pendulum cube sounds neat, very unique. So that would be my advice. I like your advice too, though. Just grab speed duels, or if not, just play the last format that everybody kind of liked.
Yeah, I guess so. In my case, my answer is speed duel box, or you find a time wizard format.
Yeah, and mine would be same, or just make a cube, but know that cubes I think do take some experience to like your first one won't be perfect.
It'll probably be
It'll probably be a bit of a nightmare, probably very unbalanced or underwhelming, and that's okay. Like you just stick with it, it'll be fine. Cool.
But those are our questions, which means
those are our questions. That's the end of the Pot of Greed for this week. Wishing you all very happy holidays, however you choose to celebrate them. We will see you guys next week. Be sure you stay tuned because I think we're going to have a little bit of a giveaway.
You might get a little something.
Yeah, we'll get something for loyally listening these past 6 months, if you can believe it.
That's insane.
All right, that's going to be it. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.